This is an overview of using the Rangecast player to download audio. In the player, the first thing you do is you go to snapshot mode. That's the camera icon above the current transmission. Snapshot mode will give you a frozen list of transmissions that you can scroll through. Normally the transmissions list is constantly changing as new transmissions are received. By going to snapshot, you freeze that to a specific block of time, and you can then scroll through a much longer list of transmissions. Inside snapshot mode, the default is to show you a block of time around whatever you are currently listening to. If the time you want to look at is not inside that window, you can enter a time by going to the time controls and specifying something such as 9 p.m. By default, it'll bring up a 15-minute block. If you want a longer block, you can adjust the time. You can choose what view you want to look at. That will typically bring you to for example, a geographic region that's more tightly focused towards the event of interest to you. And you can select channels. You can turn channels on and off the usual way. You can turn things off if you want. You can turn all the channels off and turn on only specific channels. All the usual features are available for choosing what channels you want to be listening to. And you can also, once you set up some channels that you want, let's say we wanted to focus on Salem, we can turn everything off except for Salem. And let's say we also want Gloucester. Actually, maybe Gloucester isn't on this particular one, so let's take Lynn instead. So there we are. You can use the trim button here to remove those channels from your display. Makes for a cleaner display. It's easier to work with. Now your transmission list will be focused on just the transmissions from Lynn and Salem. Now, if the event you're interested in is only part of the time interval, you can now zero in on the area of interest. On an individual transmission, to mark the single transmission, you click on the right column the duration of that transmission. So let's say we wanted the transmissions around 9:10 and 9:11. We can mark the first transmission and choose the start control, and then we can go to the last one here, mark that transmission, and click the end control. And now we've trimmed down our list of transmissions to just that 2-minute period. At this point, you might have just the event of interest to you on the screen. So if you want to download this content, what you can do is click the Mark All button and then the Download button. And that will produce a zip file that has all the transmissions of interest to you contained in that file. If we open the zip file, what you will see here is all of the individual transmissions stored as a separate audio file. And if you're interested in doing this, you can also upload that zip file, unzip it on a server, make it on a folder somewhere, and you can go and listen to that in the Rangecast player. You would go to Enter a New World, and here you can enter the URL where you have posted the audio. So we'll type in an example here that we have online. And click Load, and then that will pull up the event that you have saved. So this gives you a way of accessing through the Rangecast player with the various features this provides involving seeing the individual transmissions, seeing what's on the same channel, seeing the names of the channels in a way you wouldn't have if you're working with the individual audio files themselves. So that wraps up the summary of how to download audio using the Rangecast player.